Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. Time to panic. Plus, the NFC West remains tight, and later the Rams returning to SoFi. We preview Colts at Rams. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of victory on one way. Let's go.
Welcome to Rams Showcase. And now, here's your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Bags. Shout out Payo Time for the intro help there. Be sure to check him out. Rams Radar with Payo Time on YouTube. Does those watch parties. Absolutely incredible times, especially if you're looking for, not watching the game alone, because that's lame and boring. So join Payo Time. It's an absolute blast. Socials, his channel will be shared in the description below, so you can check that on out. And hop on the watch party train, because it's absolutely awesome. Shout out Payo, absolutely incredible dude. We got a cool stuff to go into tonight. It is time to panic, of course, so hope you guys are following suit there. NFC West, very snug race as we head into week 4, as we're almost kind of through the first quarter of the season. That happens like into week 5, though, so we gotta give it a minute, but we're getting there. And then, of course, Rams returning to SoFi for the first time since week 1 when hosting the Houston Texans, second AFC opponent for SoFi Stadium. And check out this year with the Rams hosting, of course, the Indianapolis Colts. We'll get into that game preview here shortly. But first, some quick housekeeping here. We're at Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags. It's where you can follow along on socials, ramshowcase.com. I am also live 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. LA time. That is on the Rams Showcase Facebook page, as well as the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel. So be sure to check us on out there as me and Tuna. Keeping it down, man, and talking some Rams ball all season long. We are in your lives 3 times a week, like I said, live. We also do the pregame live streams. You get to watch me drive to the bar, which is pretty cool for you. And we just talk some Rams ball, get some score predictions and all that stuff. And I'm no longer doing score predictions, I think. Those are the rules. My camera, last time I tried, it freaked out on me, and I think that was a sign. So I do them on Tuna and the Sheriff on Friday mornings when we do our game preview there. So check it on out. Let's get into the business, though. Time to panic, all right? That's our main story tonight, panic time. And I think that ultimately this is all stemming from just the what I would consider an overreaction on social media. And you know what? I get it. I totally get it, man. They're up 26-7 against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they ended up obviously coming out and winning that game. Not what you want to see, but at the same time, I think we saw so much good from the Rams. I think that we saw more good than bad from the Rams, if I'm being completely honest here. I think that there's a few things that I'm picking out as the actual bad aspects of this game that I think other people are not. I think that everybody else is like, Alex Ward's got to go. We got to get him out of here. I think Alex Ward's fine. I think that the guards next to him should get some more reps this week in field goal blocking. 3rd field goal block for the Rams in 2 weeks. So Chase Blackburn definitely needs to be able to nail that down. But I'm looking at settling for field goals, and then again just not finishing in the red zone, settling for field goals, and then just not really closing a game. Like it felt like we were there the whole time, being able to close the game, and just weren't able to. So I think that that's just execution. I don't think it's coaching. I think that it is very much execution on this one. So maybe you have different thoughts, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. The Rams, like I said, played a really, really good football game on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that overall, those little mistakes are kind of what added up. And it's a 7-point game, but, I mean, it was much closer than that. I mean, almost half a point is what I would call that game as far as the difference goes. Obviously, it didn't end that way with them being able to run that final kick all the way back, obviously. But those guys get paid too, and I think the entirety of the Rams roster got a little bit complacent, including coaches, and that was after going up 26-7, because I think that overall the Rams outplayed the Eagles for the majority of the game, not just for a half or whatever. For a large majority of the game, I think the Rams outplayed the Eagles by a lot. 2 block kicks, obviously that's pretty rough. That goes on multiple guys, not just one. Obviously, it's not just Alex Ward. His job is to get the football to Ethan Evans. Everybody else is kind of there to clean up and make sure that no one's getting to Ethan Evans and Josh Carty back there trying to operate a kick. You know what I mean? So I think too much hate's being put on to Alex Ward, but also what the heck do I know, dude? So I think we saw more good, though, from the Rams, like I said, than bad. It just feels like this. I know a lot of people said that this kind of feels like the start of a downfall. I disagree with that. I just don't think that this is like something that's going to define the Rams season. And that's kind of the best part about that kind of game happening so early, is that you have a chance to kind of come back home and correct that and kind of get back onto your proper path. You know what I mean? But it's either going to be the start of your downfall or one of those things that really kind of kicks you into high gear. And I think that that's kind of just the vibe that this team has this year, is that you needed something like that to kind of boost you out a little bit, to be like, hey, you're not invincible. Okay, you got to be able to close these out. And I think that this is a good time to have it going into week 4, of course. The Rams did do enough to win that game. I absolutely believe that as well, but obviously fell a little bit short. This doesn't define the 2025 LA Rams. Like, we're not going to go in December time and be like, yep, that time in week 3, man, that turned out, that's exactly who we were. You know what I mean? Like look at where we were last year after, I mean, we could look at it, a good amount of games into the season last year about how it wasn't working out well for the Rams. But I think that the way we kind of look at this team this year, I mean, we're still extremely young. We're still getting rhythm with our offense, with nobody playing in preseason and stuff like that. I've said that for the last however many years, that like these are still our preseason games. That's why I didn't want Philadelphia this early, is because we're still finding ourselves. We're finding out who we are. This game would have been, I think, absolutely perfectly slotted in like the week 10 to 12 range, if they don't want to put it late season necessarily. But we got it where we did, and the outcome is what it is. I mean, what else do you want to do about it? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Just, do we really think that a comeback loss in week 3 is going to be the thing that derails the season against the Super Bowl champions? You know what I mean? They haven't lost a game in a while. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm not here to up the Eagles by any means. But I think that we're dealing with a really good football team, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that's going to happen with this leadership. I feel like we kind of are able to flip that around. And games this early can definitely impact the standings later. So this is certainly something that we'll look back on and be like, oh man, if we could have pulled that off against the Eagles, then maybe we'd be the 1 seed, or maybe we'll be the 2 seed, or maybe we win the division. Who knows? The way this division's shaping up right now. So I think that ultimately that's kind of where my brain is at. It's like, yes, this is going to be a game we look back on, but now we know right now though that we're behind the Philadelphia Eagles, and if they are the class of the NFC, like everybody seems to think, then we just got to go out and win more football games than they do for the rest of the year. There's no guarantees that we got to win 2 more than they do from here on out. You know what I mean? Because can't have the same amount. That wouldn't work out for us in the standings. But I think that overall, we look at where we're at in the NFC, 2-1 record. Yes, we've only defeated 2 AFC teams, but this is a little bit of our preseason. So I say all of that to say this, is that it's not time to panic. It's going to be okay. It is still September. You don't need to start panicking really until December. That's ground zero of panic, is December 1. You can get through September for sure. Definitely October. November, you can raise some eyebrows. Eyebrows go to a little bit higher elevations when things aren't working out that well. But even in the Super Bowl winning season, the Rams didn't win a game in November, turned it on in December and January. So as long as you're staying in it, you're staying competitive, you're playing with good teams, you're able to win the games that you're supposed to win. And let's call it what it is. We weren't technically supposed to win that game. We were underdogs on the road against the Super Bowl champions. Like, what happened was like kind of what everybody thought was going to happen. Vegas and all that stuff, like picks and stuff, like it all was in favor of Philadelphia. So pulling out a win there obviously helps you a ton, but losing that game, I just don't feel like really hurts you that much, especially the Rams come out of that game mostly healthy as well. But offensive line depth, certainly something that needs to be, I think, a conversation. We're clearly, when backups need to come in, they're getting pushed around a little too much for my liking. So we're supposed to have really good depth there, and it's not showing right now. So I think that the entire offensive line needs to kind of get better. But again, we're still going into week 4. There's time for that to develop and for that to happen, which is very good news. But again, I kind of point to where the Rams were at last year. And in fairness, there was a lot of panic last year at about this same time. But it ended up working in a way where the Rams were obviously able to go win a playoff game and give the Philadelphia Eagles one hell of a fight in the snow in January as well. So that's what we got for you. It's panic time, I guess, if you want to panic. Because, again, I'm also not going to tell you how to be a fan. If panic is what you feel in your bones, then have at it, dude. Have at it. I think I'm trying to be a little bit of a voice of reason for those people who are panicking but don't want to. You can listen to me. It's going to be okay. We'll bring it in here. We're going to be okay. All right. We've got a game against the Indianapolis Colts that we'll get into the game preview here shortly. And maybe that turns it around and we're all feeling good again. So we got that going for us. Then a short week. That's going to be a tough one. But let's get into some standings here, as there's not really a lot of news to talk about as far as the Rams go. Everything's kind of business as usual right now. Not a lot of chaos going on, which is absolutely what you want at this time. So that's good news there. But taking a look at the standings, San Francisco 49ers in first place, 3-0 record. They did defeat the Arizona Cardinals 16-15 last week. And this week they'll be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. That should be an interesting game. Nick Bosa will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL, so we won't see him this year. Rams Thursday Night Football in Week 5 against the 49ers. And then there's also no clear timetable for the return of Brock Purdy, but he was questionable last week, so it does seem like he at least is potentially going to be available for the Rams game when the 49ers come to town on Thursday Night Football Week 5. But also, I think that the performance of Mac Jones could possibly, I guess, delay the return of Brock Purdy, since the production at the quarterback position is about even, which I don't know if that's a good thing for Brock Purdy, or a good thing for Mac Jones, or a bad thing for Brock Purdy. When you come in and your backup comes in and who's just a bag of bummers of a human being and a quarterback, and he plays as well as you, probably not good. Probably not good, but whatever. Next up, depending on where you're looking at the standings, by the way, it seems like if you look in different places, it's all different after that. But everybody else is 2-1. I choose to put the Rams in second place at 2-1. With that loss to the Eagles, of course, last week, 26-33. This week, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Full game preview right around the corner. Arizona Cardinals in third. They did lose to the 49ers, 15-16. This week, hosting Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. So short week for the Arizona Cardinals. And they are also rocking their rivalries uniforms. So those are finally making their first appearance on an NFL field for any team, really. So the first of the rivalries uniforms breaking out on Thursday Night Football. Those sand-colored Cardinals jerseys, because they want to be the Rams so bad, dude. So bad. They can't, but they want to try. And you know what? Respect them for that. I'd want to be the Rams too if I was the Cardinals, straight up. And also, Arizona did waive former Rams wide receiver Tristan Jackson this week. Seattle Seahawks in last place right now, 2-1. Defeated the Saints 44-13. That was a big old win for the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, Saints are looking pretty rough this year, but you know what? That's kind of just the situation that they're in. They're going to turn it around, but when your quarterback retires like that and you got to start Spencer Rattler, I mean, that's harsh, dude. So, and the rest of that team's kind of just they're in an interesting spot right now. Seattle Seahawks, though, they're looking all right. 44-13 win, like I said, and then of course in Arizona for that Thursday Night Football game. And in fact, the Seattle Seahawks, they actually are every time that they're on the road at an NFC West team, that team is wearing their rivalries uniform. So Seattle will see them all this year. Of course, when they play the Rams later this year at SoFi, Rams will be rocking those midnight blues that I guess are getting mixed reviews. High voice on that. I like them. I think they're awesome, man. But I've seen a lot of people kind of not into them as much as they were, I think. I don't know what happened, man. I feel like right away everybody loved them, and now I'm starting to see people like, nah. So, I don't know. That happens, I guess. We have another AFC opponent, third in 4 weeks for the Rams, playing the AFC, the other conference. And we got your full game preview as the Colts coming to town. That is on the other side of this break right here, Ram Showcase. Welcome back, Ram Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Baggs. This weekend, the Indianapolis Colts 3-0 heading to the Los Angeles Rams at 2-1. And before we get fully embedded into a game preview here, I just want to send a shout out Jim Irsay, one of the coolest owners in NFL history. And obviously, rest in peace, Irsay, and our thoughts to the Irsay family. But Irsay was absolutely incredible, dude. I loved watching him on McAfee. and just hearing him in interviews and press conferences, stuff like that. That guy was awesome. That guy knew how to run an NFL team, man. Good times there. Jim Irsay, obviously, legend of the football. This game happening at SoFi Stadium, 1:05 p.m. kickoff time. This game will kick off on Fox with Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston on the call. The distribution of this one, Rams are going to be playing in the blue zones as Fox is on the single, so this does include the late games. Not a lot of zone this week around, so we get mostly around Indy, mostly around LA, and then for some reason a little pocket of New Orleans wants to see the Rams, which love them for that. That's absolutely awesome, but that's kind of what we're dealing with this week. Not a lot of coverage. I guess I don't think this is going to be a good game. Fox is burning us on this one. But in fairness, it's the markets individually. They pick what teams and stuff like that they like to feature. I'm guessing Saints picked the Rams, and it kind of just worked out that way. Or New Orleans picked the Rams, and it just kind of worked out that way. It's kind of interesting how that all works. It's not a burn from the NFL, though, on the Rams themselves. So just putting that one out there. Rams are minus 3.5, minus 198 on the money line, and the over-under for this one is 48.5. Rams will be rocking the royal jerseys for this matchup, and our pants picks here. We got a good mix going on here, dude. I'm going with the bone. We got Payo and Tuna picking royal, and Rams House is going with the soul. So we will see how that how the pants shake out. We typically learn those on Thursday, so you'll be able to see it there. But participate, dude. Play along with us, man. And drop your pants picks in the comment section below. Maybe we'll start doing that on like Wednesdays on Tuna and the Sheriff or something like that. Try to get some time in there. You know what I mean? And let's take a look at the history of this matchup. This is the 48th all-time meeting between these two teams. That's quite a bit for an AFC team for sure. The Colts do lead the all-time series 23-22-2. So when they win, the Rams can tie the all-time series. The last time these teams met was on October 1st, 2023. That was a 29-23 win for the Rams. Puka Nacua scoring in overtime his first career touchdown, and he didn't know the overtime rules. He didn't know the game was over, so he scored, and he was thinking, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, we got ours. What up, And then he didn't realize we won, dude. It's game over. So that's absolutely awesome. I love that. First ever meeting between these two, that came on October 22nd, 1950. That was a 70-27 win for the Rams over the Baltimore Colts. Colts do lead the series overall, like I said, by 1, but the Rams actually lead the series in points, 1,122 to 1,019. So a good difference there, too. 103-point difference, but one more win for the Colts. Some big old wins for the Rams. And let's see here. The Rams have won the last 4 against the Colts. The Colts' last win came on October 25th of 2009. That was 42-6 win for the Colts. Sean McVay's first ever game as a Rams head coach came against the Colts September 10th of 2017. That was a 46-9 win for the Rams. My personal favorite game, though, watching the Rams play the Colts, would have been that Tavon Austin game at the Edward Jones Dome, November 10th, 2013. Tavon just goes off, dude. That was absolutely incredible. That punt return, I remember being like, what are you doing? God. And then just losing my mind. That was good times, man. Good times. Rams and Colts have only played 5 times when the Rams were in the city of St. Louis. The Rams were 2-3 versus Indy in that stretch. And the two have met in the postseason no times, which makes sense with it being a cross-conference opponent. There's only one game that could have happened in, and the Rams have never met the Colts in the Super Bowl. All right, so obviously a lot that we are looking at for this game. The Colts are, I think the biggest story of this week is the Colts are much better than everybody expected through just 3 weeks of action. One close win against the Denver Broncos, who certainly is the best team that they have played this year. But other than that, a couple of blowout wins over the Dolphins and the Titans. And I know a lot of the storyline, especially from Colts fans, is like, well, we were beating up on teams that the Rams were, having trouble against, I suppose, with the Tennessee Titans. But I think it's just still too early in the season to say, like, who's really that awesome and who's really not. Because, again, the Colts have beat 2 not incredible teams and then was really close against a team who I think everybody thought was going to be better this year in the Denver Broncos. And they're doing fine, but they're 1-2, you know what I mean? So you got to have, that's definitely a big part of it, I think, is just the opponents. And it'll average out as the year goes on, obviously, but Daniel Jones looked like he's pulling like a full-on Dre Foge on us in Indy, where it's like, who is this guy? Like, is this the same guy that we had, like that we've seen before? But honestly, he looks great this year. He looks real confident. He looks calm. He looks like he's going through his reads well. 71.6 completion percentage, 816 yards through 3 games. He's averaged in 272. 3 touchdowns, no picks for Danny Jones over here. The Colts, though, second leading rusher in team history. Jonathan Taylor getting it done on the ground as well. He's averaging just under 113 a game, so offense is absolutely rolling. Balanced receiving attack. 2 guys in first place with receiving yards, 193 apiece. Obviously, great distribution there. That's the rookie tight end, Tyler Warren, and Michael Pittman Jr., both looking absolutely incredible. Colts have only punted 1 time this season and have no turnovers. That is absolutely of note. In fairness, they do have 9 first downs by penalty. Some of those have been in some pretty drive-saving situations, and are also 5 of 7 on 4th down, which means that they're going for it, man. And I don't know, that doesn't obviously count as a turnover, even though it is when you miss it on 4th down, but it doesn't go against anybody's stat sheet as like Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor or anything like turning the ball over, so there's that as well. That brings me to my biggest key to victory in this game, which is going to be just throw a wrench in the production. Whip a wrench into that machine and see what happens. You know what I mean? They've been able to just run how they want to run each game, it seems, so far this year. And I know the sample size is 3. Our sample size is 3. You don't have a whole understanding of how your team is performing right now. But you throw a wrench into that, throw them off, and don't let them just do what they want to do to you, which, I mean, that sounds simple, but it's not. This is the NFL. So I think that's kind of the biggest, for me, that is the biggest key for the Rams. You throw things at the Colts that they have not seen so far this season and will ruin their day. That's all, man. You got to ruin their day with your front 7. Rams attack, their pass rush, and ability to stop the run, I think has shown massive improvements as far as the ability to stop the run this year. But we've also seen that the pass rush is absolutely incredible. First in sacks right now. We do kind of anticipate the Rams will at least be in that conversation by season's end with the players that they have. And we know Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. We know, Braden Fisk. We know Puna Ford and stuff like that. But Josiah Stewart, dude, he's coming out here and absolutely killing it. Absolutely love to see that. He's been playing great football. So keeping that pressure coming, man, even no matter who it's coming from, no matter where you're at on the depth chart, you're still an NFL player, man, and we still want you to crush Daniel Jones. Crush him, dude. So that's kind of what we're looking for here, obviously. The Rams corners have proven to be a little bit of a liability, and the front will definitely need to get in the face of Jones and stuff Taylor to be able to help out those corners, man. Obviously, Akella Witherspoon's still down on IR, but secondary has been what I would consider a bit of a liability, especially when you play a team that has a big body dude like A.J. Brown. So Pittman again this week, certainly some concerns there as far as what are the Rams going to do to put a lid on that. But I think that first and foremost, it's get to Daniel Jones and don't let him beat you on the ground as well, because we know that he can do that too. So the story of really for the Rams on the Rams side is how do you respond off of a comeback loss in a game where you largely outplayed the champions, who haven't lost a game in really a while, dating back to last year, obviously before the playoffs. So it's been a bit for that, but how do you come back after that? You're up 26-7. You let a team come back on you and lose the game by 7. Although obviously that last 6 kind of just a little, sure, yeah, you scored it, yeah, that does count, but like, does it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really consider it as far as like the whole gameplay. He could have just stopped 2 and game over, but I mean, whatever, it happens, But ultimately, that's kind of just my biggest thing from the Rams' perspective is I want to see how they come out in this one. It feels like the Rams respond in a positive way, come out big, but obviously there's no guarantees in this league, especially when your opponent has played some really sound football this year so far. The Indianapolis Colts, my biggest word for them is efficient. They've been efficient this year. They're not making mistakes. They're just running their game, and they're doing a good job. They're obviously 3-0. Winning football games in the NFL is hard. But last week, they were up 17-3 after the first quarter, and then just kind of rode it out, in fairness, from there. But I think that the first quarter for this game, I think, is going to be telling and critical, I think, because you have a Rams team who hadn't scored since that Kyron Williams touchdown to go up 26-7. And then you have a Colts team who last week they just kind of rolled over Tennessee and didn't really need to do a whole lot of situational trickery or anything like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like I said, they were up 17-3 after the first. They had a Taylor run and a pick six to score their 2 touchdowns. So getting it done on offense and defense, obviously that's something that we're going to need to not see this week for the Rams to be able to get this one done. Some milestones we're keeping our eyeballs on, or we have reached. We'll start with Matthew Stafford, alone in 9th place for most touchdown passes in NFL history. Ben Roethlisberger is in 8th with 419, meaning Stafford needs 36 to tie Ben Roethlisberger. May hit that this year. Certainly possible. Don't know, but it is possible. He is currently tied with Matt Ryan for 38 in fourth quarter comebacks in 4th place. He needs 3 to tie 3rd place, 5 to tie 2nd place, and 8 to tie 1st place, which is one Tom Brady, if you've heard of him. Needs 2 touchdown passes to tie Kurt Warner for 6th in Rams history with 102, meaning that Matthew Stafford currently past touchdown number 100 went to Kyren Williams just this last week. Speaking of, Kyren Williams, with a 100-yard performance, would reach 13th in rushing yards in Rams history, passing John Arnett and Willie Ellison. And Williams is 283 yards behind Jerome Bettis in Rams history, so should get that within a few weeks here. 1 touchdown behind Roman Gabriel and Dick Hayner as well. That remains the same, as he wasn't able to push one in on the ground in a rushing touchdown last week. Next up, Puka Nacua, currently 18th in yards in Rams history and receiving yards. He is 257 behind Preston Denard, so probably just going to hit that this weekend, I guess. Needs 5 receptions to tie Todd Gurley for 15th most in Rams history, so right in that action as well. Devontae Adams, this is an interesting one to talk about, man, because when we're talking, it's fun to talk about, hey, Puka Nacua, he's 18th in Rams history in yards. Then we switch over to Devontae Adams. He needs 12 receptions to tie Randy Moss all time with 18th place. 3 of the 4 ahead of Moss are still active, in fairness. DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and Travis Kelce. So we're going to still need some ground after that. But either way, needs 5 receiving yards to pass Derek Mason for 31st all-time in NFL history with a 100-yard performance. He would reach 29th, passing, of course, Derek Mason, Hines Ward, and Charlie Joyner. Some very big names there. He is currently 1 touchdown behind Mike Evans all-time. Adams is in 10th with 105. Obviously, Mike Evans has 106, so he is right in that action as well. And he is 6 behind Tony Gonzalez, but Mike Evans is only 5 behind Tony Gonzalez. So Gonzalez is going to be dropping down the leader charts here within the. I'm assuming by the end of the year. You know what I mean? If these guys, that's all they need, then feels pretty good. Rob Havenstein, last week he tied Dennis Hara for the most starts in franchise history. In 8th place for most starts in franchise history with 144. He does need 2 to tie Torrey Holt, 6 to tie Aaron Donald, and he is currently 10 behind Orlando Pace. Those are the ones that he can reach this season. So let's take a look at just some connections here. Nothing too crazy as far as the connections go. Former Rams who are on the Colts. We got just a couple of pass rushers. Neville Gallimore, more recently with the Rams, he was a player I really liked last year on this team. I thought that he was a really solid depth piece, and he's becoming a really solid depth piece in Indy. Had a sack last week. And defensive end, Samson Ebukam. He's, I think, most remembered for his 2 touchdowns that he scored on defense against the Kansas City Chiefs in, November of 2018. That 54-51 absolute madness game, man. But Samson Ebukam put in 2 touchdowns, which I think is the Rams' record for defensive scores. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, then he's tied for it. I don't think anybody's put up more than 2 touchdowns on the defensive side for the Rams. Let's dig into the matchup here. We're going to start with the Rams offense. So, Rams offense, top 6 units, 373.3 a game. That's pretty solid action there. Going against the top 5 defense, 284.3 is what the Colts are giving up. Passing the football, top 10 unit for the Rams, 263. And then top 8 unit for that Colts pass defense. They're giving up 178.3. Rushing the football, the Rams are tied for ninth with 127 a game, and the Colts are giving up 94 yards a game. That is 8th in the league. And average points being put up, the Rams are scoring 24.3. That's 11th in the NFL. The Colts giving up 18.7. That is tied for 9th. Third down conversion, Rams get that 42.9% of the time. That is 11th in the NFL. And the Colts give up 42.4. That is tied for 21st. So obviously the Colts doing a very good job here. Top 5 defense at the moment. Doing a good job against the pass. Doing a good job against the run. I think overall just a sound team, an efficient team. Some players that we're looking at on the other side of the football here. Defensive tackle, DeForest Buckner. Plenty of familiarity for Buckner versus the Rams. With the Rams banged up in the middle of the offensive line, Buckner is certainly a focus this week and certainly a player for Rams fans to keep their eyes on. But for Ryan Wendell, Rams offensive line coach, he's going to need to cook something up because it does sound like it's very possible that Steve Avila not back for this game. Dotson, I think, should be okay, but Avila could be missing his 3rd straight game, and we'll see what the Rams, if they try to make any moves there, or if it'll just be Justin Dedich taking that role again. Next up, corners, a couple of them here. Xavier Howard, as well as Charvarius Ward, 2 really good corners covering our wideouts. Probably the team that we've played so far, the only team that we've played so far that has the at least presents a roster that can maybe, cover Devontae and Puka Nacua. So obviously we're looking at both of those guys there. To cover 12 and 17, that's a tough task, but Howard and Ward, 2 very, very good corners. So I think we still have the best duo in the NFL. But again, solid test for both, man. This is the best corner duo that the Rams have seen so far this year. And next up, we'll go with linebacker Zaire Franklin. Stacking tackles as the Colts middle linebacker, man. He's having an absolutely awesome year. How he reads the run lanes against Kyron could very well be the difference between Williams having a solid day and the Rams being forced to pass, which I know makes perfect sense, but still, I think that Zaire Franklin is going to be a very critical part of the Rams' attack. If he's on, it's going to be a tough day for the Rams potentially. But obviously, there's so many different ways to attack a defense, and Zaire Franklin is absolutely one of those guys who could force the Rams into a different game plan by needing to maybe pass the football a little bit more. While we're dealing with the Rams offense going against the Colts defense, my best one-on-one I'm going to give to Tutu Atwell, the Tutu train, going against Kenny Moore II. Moore is a very strong nickelback. And at some point when McVay says he needs to get Tutu involved, he's going to be not lying to us, right? I mean, at some point he's going to say, yeah, I need to get Tutu involved. And it's going to be true, and he's going to get him involved. I hope so, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's awesome. We got Puka and Devontae. No complaints here when those guys are getting the targets because those guys are absolute monsters. You want those guys to get targets. But when you have a guy who's making $10 million guaranteed and he's not doing anything for you, man, it's like, where else can this money be spent then? Offensive line? Corner, maybe? You know what I mean? That's kind of where my brain goes to it of like, why are we spending, nothing negative against Tutu, man. I like Tutu Atwell. I hope not only do I hope he sticks around, but I also hope that he actually starts, being involved into the offense because it just doesn't seem like he's really present. So far, it's been give or take Tutu, like put him in or put him out, and the games are not different. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see here, is that this is maybe the week where Tutu does get involved. We've heard it from Sean McVay. How many times will we hear it from Sean McVay until we see it? I don't know. Is it going to happen this early? I also don't know. But I think in my brain keeps going to that Tavon Austin game, and Tutu feels a lot like Tavon, I think, in our hearts. Not the same style of player. He's just super fast and stuff like that. But I think that this could be one of those where Tutu just absolutely explodes for no reason against the Colts. Tell me I'm wrong, man. Tell me it's not possible. Tell me it's not possible. But Kenny Moore, pick 6 last week, gave the football to his mom, something that we see from Kyron Williams all the time. Absolutely got to love that. So it's going to be a tough task for whoever is playing or a slot wide receiver position, whether that is the Tutu train or if it's going to be Jay Witt. We shall see. But either way, tough matchup for that nickel corner. And for the Rams in the slot trying to break out there is 3 really good corners for the Indianapolis Colts for sure. 3 to C on the Rams offensive side. We're going to start with K-Dub, Kyren Williams. And Williams coming off of his best yardage output of the season with 94 last week. Blake had a solid day as well. But Kyren scoring through the air, getting it done on the ground is certainly good news for the Rams offense. It did feel a lot more balanced, a lot more able to run play actions and set up that pass off of the run. So obviously we're very much looking for that. But feels like the Rams should be on, if Kyren is having another one of those days, feels like the Rams should be on the good side of the score for this one. As we also have not seen a situation for the Colts where they need to try to, and I know that game against the Broncos was close, but they haven't been in a game where they're going against an offense who can score on you at any point from anywhere on the field. And if that does start happening, then how are they going to attack Kyren and stop the run and also not, and try to get the football back for their offense? So Kyren Williams, I think, is going to be a very critical part of this game. As I think for the Rams, we almost want to have a boring game after last week, right? Like we want to just score, keep the football, keep them off the field, make it kind of an overall boring game, and just get out of there with a dub. We got Thursday Night Football coming up after this. It's good, just get through, and we'll be all right. That's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. So I do feel like it's a big Kyren Williams game. But if they are stopping the run, that brings me to number 2, which is going to be Matthew Stafford, quarterback. While the ground game, certainly critical, man. Certainly critical. This Colts team has been very sound, very good at time of possession as well. And they're coming off a week. We're coming off a week where 9 had multiple head scratcher throws. That's not typically something we see. We can usually point to like 1 or 2 throws a game where Matthew Stafford throws a football and you're like, what are you doing? But it was a lot more than that this last week. I think I counted 5 that was like, ugh, I wish I was in a better spot. And there was some blatant ones too. Overthrowing Puka on that crosser was really tough. Like just some stuff like that, man. So another interception that was like, but either way. But Matthew Stafford, I think that having a game like that last week against a really good Eagles team just prepares you to kind of just settle down and just move forward. You're back at home for this one, so that's good news there. But hopefully no less head scratcher throws this week. But we need a good day from the leader, man, to get back at home, back in action, back in rhythm. Let's get that rolling. I think that kind of starts with number 9. If 9 is rolling, everything else kind of trickles out and typically does well. If Matthew's having a rough day, it does feel like that's, and not to say that last week was necessarily a rough day. I think that overall Matthew looked really good, but just a couple of throws, you're like, ugh. Yeah. Wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Puka definitely well on his way to being one of the best wideouts in team history for sure. And even when the team is trying to take him away, he's still able to pick up first downs. So it doesn't matter what the opponent is necessarily doing. Puka is still able to get it done, which you absolutely love, obviously. He's had some freedom, a little bit more freedom this year with the attention that Devontae Adams is getting for sure. But he's still getting his targets, getting his catches, no matter what the down and distance is. It's always a shot for Puka Nacua to make some sweet plays, man. Some sweet plays. Overall, though, for the Rams offense going against the Colts defense, it feels like the Rams should have a better matchup against most NFL defenses. Like, it does feel like the Rams go into most games where it's like, we are the better team in this setting, when the Rams offense is on the field. This Colts defense playing really well, man. The whole Colts team is playing really well. And for the Rams to come out on top of this one, we just really need Stafford to make the simple throws, not settle for field goals on 6 occasions. That's tough cookies right there, man. And we can blame the loss last week on whatever we want to, but it just feels like finishing drives should really be the focus this week, returning home. So I would almost anticipate that if the Rams are like the 35-ish, nothing against Cardi, because he's not the one that messed it up, but nothing against Cardi, but it does feel like maybe let's go for it. Let's just stay out there. Stay out there. Let's go for this. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for. Flipping to the other side here, let's look at the Colts offense going against the Rams defense. Colts offense, they are power on offense right now, man. Tied for first in total yards, 425.3. The Rams defense is 8th, just under 300 given up per game. Passing the football, 265.3. That's 4th in the NFL for the Colts offense. And the Rams defense, 165.3 given up. That is 6th in the NFL. Rushing yards, 153.3 for the Colts offense. Solid numbers there. That's 3rd in the league. Rams giving up 103. That's 13th in the NFL. Average points being put up per game, the Colts put up 34.3, big-time numbers there. That's tied for second in the league. And the Rams defense giving up 20.3. That is 14th, right in the middle of the road there. Third down conversion, Colts are converting 41.7%. That's 13th, and the Rams defense giving up 34.2. That is 8th in the NFL. This is a very potent offense for the Indianapolis Colts right now, and they're just playing smart, strong, good football. They're not turning the ball over. They're never punting. I liked that comment from the Colts play-by-play guy that when they were punting last week. He was like, if you're new to Colts football this year, this is called a punt. I absolutely love that. That's absolutely hilarious. I got to find out who that guy is because I was like, yeah, nice. Just good stuff there, man. But this Colts offense playing really, really good football. Fourth in passing, third in running. Obviously, that's a recipe for success there. They don't have like a thing where you're like, oh, well, as long as you take this away, then they're screwed kind of thing. It's like, no, they're doing a lot of things well. You got to take away multiple things, man. Just don't let them kill you in any one thing. I think that's kind of the key for this one here. Some of opposing players that we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start with tight end Tyler Warren, a tight end the Rams may have had their eyes on in the draft. I'm not totally sure, but it has certainly been a big part of the Colts offense. The Rams certainly aren't their best at covering tight ends, and Warren has the ability to burn you. So certainly somebody to keep our eyes on. Hopefully the Rams are able to kind of shut that down at that tight end spot. Next up, running back Jonathan Taylor, second leading rusher in Colts history behind just Edger and James. Taylor very much still has it. He didn't have 100 yards in week 1 and is still averaging 113 a game this season. Not much of a drop from dealing with Jonathan Taylor from Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, two very good backs back-to-back weeks. So, obviously, tough task for the Rams run defense. Jonathan Taylor, though, like I said, still very much getting it done. And when he's not, wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Decent output every single week. Has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year, including one last week against the Tennessee Titans. He's averaging in the low teens per catch and can certainly be a red zone threat, a third down threat. Plus, the Colts have plenty of fourth down attempts in their arsenal this year as well. So certainly somebody to keep our eyes on. We probably want to have, I would guess, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. covering Michael Pittman. We'll kind of see what the Rams defense decides to deploy there. My best one-on-one for the Rams defense going against the Colts offense is going to be Kobe Turner against Quentin Nelson. Nelson, absolutely one of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL, not just a guard. And Kobe eating up that block and allowing the rest of the guys to absolutely feast on Jones could be the play, all right? That could be the plan. Tuna, Kobe, one of those guys, just take out Quentin Nelson. You let him block you. And, I mean, obviously try to get past him and stuff like that. Don't just let him eat the block. But, allow that to him to get the attention on you. And then, obviously, the remainders should be able to get after the quarterback. But there's going to be a lot of help. Obviously, Quentin Nelson slipping out to left to help on that Jared Verse side of the ball. But again, I mean, that's going to be tough numbers for the Colts offense. As I mean, if he goes out too far that way, then our inside's going to eat you up, dude. So I don't know. It's a tough matchup, and I'm really curious to see what Quentin Nelson is looking like this week against this Rams front, which is obviously very, very talented. So very talented offensive line for the Colts, very talented defensive front for the Rams. Love that action, man. Love that action. My 3 to see here, I'm going to start with Kobe Turner, as Turner might have his hands full this week and very well may not show up on the stat sheet, but make no mistake about it. Kobe Turner's going to be impacting this football game. Even if he is just there to eat up that center guard block combo or whatever it happens to be, but occupying Quentin Nelson, I think, is going to be one of the most critical parts of this game, and Kobe Turner figures to kind of play that role a good amount of the time. So again, it may not show up in the stat sheet. He's going to impact the football game. Think Michael Brockers, all right? Didn't always crush it in sacks or tackles or anything like that, but the way he impacted so many games and allowed Aaron Donald to just absolutely tee off on people was a very real thing. Next up, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., hands full this week with Pittman. In fairness, Pittman, very good player, but it seems Forbes seems to slowly be getting better every single week, so we absolutely love to see that. Obviously, his speed has definitely flashed here and there. And he is the Rams' tallest corner. So right now, that is kind of where we're looking. We need him in those positions quite a bit. And next up here, I'm going to go with Josiah Stewart, the edge rusher, the rook, man. Turns out Stewart pretty sick, man. Turns out. I don't know if you caught that or not, but Josiah Stewart, he's pretty sick pass rusher. Rams absolutely nail these picks, dude. It's crazy. We should have known. The Rams picking an edge rusher. It's like, oh man, that guy's probably so sick. Like, we should have known, man. We should have known right away. But he's showing us either way. Getting him rotated with Young and Verse has been really, really fun to watch, man. He and Hampton, I thought, were kind of the most underrated the Rams guys coming into to this season, and they stuck around, which I absolutely love to see that, man. And I would say Josiah Stewart, probably Hampton as well, were like the two picks that were talked about the least. And Stewart, I think, is so far having the biggest impact of any Rams rookie. I don't even think that's crazy to say, actually. I feel he's the best rookie so far. He's the Rams rookie of the year. Not even close. Who else is even in the conversation right now? Rams just aren't using any rookies right now. So, obviously, you got to watch out for 10. 10, when he's on the field, absolute killer. Turns out anybody who's wearing 10 for the Rams, sick. And that's now Josiah Stewart. But overall, man, for the Rams defense going against this Colts offense, I would say that the Rams defense definitely has the capability of destroying a game plan. And on Sunday, they'll need to do that against a really efficient opponent. And again, that's the best way that I can describe this Colts team right now, is just efficient. One punt, no turnovers. This is also the best defense that they're playing against all year. Denver, I know, good defense. I feel like our defense is better, at least better pass rushers. They've got a better corner than we do with Patrick Surtain. Obviously, we don't have a corner that's at that level, but our pass rushers are absolutely crazy. They've got one Nick Bonito. We've got 4 of them. So sorry about your bad luck, Daniel Jones. You're going to have to fight this fire this week, and we'll see if you have fire to bring to this firefight. We'll see, dude. We'll see. But this game, of course, kicking off again on Fox. This game, not a whole lot of coverage. 1:05 p.m. LA time kickoff for this one. And we'll be doing our game preview on Tuna and the Sheriff. That'll be on Friday morning, 7 a.m. live LA time. That'll be on the Ram Showcase Facebook page, as well as the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel. We'll also again be live pregame as I'm heading out to go catch the action. And drop your score predictions, man. I want to hear about them. I want to see what you think. Who you think is going to have the biggest impact of this game. Drop score predictions. I want all that stuff all the time. It's absolutely awesome. Speaking of things that are awesome, fan quesos. That's coming right after this break. It's Ram Showcase. All right, Rams fans, welcome back. I'm just going to casually pull up the fan quesos that I didn't do yet and get this action rolling. All right, let's see here. Fan quesos. Here we go. Starting over at the Facebook page, we're going to start with Brett's single T. Only one T. I don't know what has to happen. Was there like a T accident or something like that? Is everything okay over there? Let's see. If one Rams, and there's no other Rams around to hear it, did they really ram? That's a great question, man. I would say that, it depends. That, if you Rams, then you probably Rams. But Rams. If no one hears it, Rams. Next one here from Rich. After the debacle in Philly, my parents taught me, if you can't say something nice, then don't say it at all. I am beyond upset. So your parents taught you this after the disaster in Philly? The debacle is your word? Great word, by the way. Debacle. I gotta start bringing that into my vocabulary. It says, if you can't say something nice and don't say nothing at all, I'm beyond upset. That's not a question. I do appreciate you being here, Rich. And what I can tell you is, it's week 4 now. We're Colts week now, man. Colts week. That's what. Let's get over to these questions now. I don't know what else I don't know how to help you, Rich. I'm sorry you're upset. It was a lame game. It sucked. It was stupid. I hated it. I drove home so sad. But that's all I allow myself. I'll tell you that. Maybe that's how I can help. I allow myself. One of the reasons I like to leave for the Rams games, I allow myself to be upset just for the ride home. By the time I get home, it's time to put it away. Time to go to the next week. That's also why on my personal Facebook, every single time, no matter what happens, I just say our record and the next opponent. So, like, we lose in a heartbreaker against Philly in a game where I thought Cardi was going to put it in at the end and we were going to win. I just pull out my phone and very casually, 2-1, onto the Colts. We are on to the Colts. On to the Colts. All right, that's very much where I'm at right now. But that's a personal thing for me, man. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan. Obviously, there's no wrong way to be a fan. If you want to remain mad about that game for the next 7 years, have at it, dude. But I can't. I'm not one of those anymore. I used to be for sure. But I don't know, man. It's Colts week. That game sucked, but like my buddy Jackson said, who's a Packers fan this week, so it's worse for some people. He was like, "Hey, you can't go 15-2 without dropping a couple." So 17-0 sounds awesome. A little bit boring, though. Am I right? A little bit boring. You gotta have some adversity in there. You know what I mean? Next few here coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. Says, "Go Rams." Hell yeah, go Rams. That game was a heartbreaker. Sure was, dude. But it's only week 4. I'd rather lose a regular season game and correct our mistakes than have this happen in a playoff game. Edwin. He knows, man. Edwin knows, man. I should have read that first. Yeah, talking to Rich there, man. So yeah, it's this could have been a playoff game, and then we just have to sit all summer in it like we did against Philly this last time. So I mean, we at least play football this weekend again, you know. So that's at least a start. Because with that being said, how impressive was Cardi? Absolutely incredible, man. Cardi is great, though, man. He had like 23 straight kicks. Gotta love that, man. Says with those kicks, with those kicks pinning the Eagles within their own 15-yard line. I keep hearing, had two. Oh, you're sorry. These are always broken up so awkwardly. I gotta try to figure out where it is. With those kicks, dude. The knuckleball that Josh Cardi is able to pull off right now, teams are going to want to try to figure that out. We've perfected it seems, as Cardi does an absolutely incredible job. They just could not handle the football, dude. Too hot to handle. Absolutely love to see that, man. So, yeah, and then also, obviously he's such a great field goal kicker. He needs to not, have 17 arms right in front of him when he's trying to boot the ball through the uprights, but he's obviously incredible. And those kickoffs, man, changed the whole dynamic of the Rams kicking operation, because last year it was just Ethan Evans boot it the hell out of the end zone. Now Cardi, it's like make him look dumb out there. And I think it's working, so that's pretty fun. Says, I keep hearing Tutu should be more involved in the offense, but every time I see him try to catch a pass, he gets destroyed. Do you think we should try to keep getting Tutu involved? Absolutely, we should try to keep getting Tutu involved. We're paying him $10 million guaranteed. A guarantee, you better catch these footballs, my guy. I also do, I'll say this, heading into week 4, this is probably Tutu's last season as a Ram, if I had to guess. I did say that last year. I didn't anticipate that he would get a 1-year, fully guaranteed $10 million contract. That is what happened. I would like to see, based on that contract, a little bit more involvement, and it's not on Tutu. That's the thing, is that it's very much a game planning and Sean McVay thing to get Tutu into the action, rather than just Tutu not playing well or anything like that. And yeah, he's been left out to dry on a few of those dudes. So choose a player from defense and one player from offense from the past 3 games you've been most impressed with. That's a good one. Let's see here. I think okay. So who I've been most impressed with, Nate Landman, absolutely on fire, dude. Am I supposed to pick one from each game? From the past 3 games, who have you impacted? I'm just going to pick one then. I'm going to say Landman. Absolutely incredible, man. And then I think that even though I would say we haven't seen the full potential yet, I think that the arrival of Devontae Adams is one of those things where he makes a couple of plays a game where you're like, God, that's exactly what I do every time. It's like, oh, Jesus, dude, that man has a family. That man's ankles have a family. What are you doing out here, Devontae? He's killing people. It's absolutely awesome. I love that. So Devontae's presence on the Rams offense, I don't think is fully settled in on my brain yet. We're getting there. But I also think that, he's just, he does some things where you're like, oh, we haven't had a guy like this in a long time. It's like, obviously, we've had Cooper Kupp, who had an incredible 21 season. We've had really good players. Puka Nacua is obviously one of the best in the NFL. But, like, to do what the things that Devontae is doing, I mean, this is like Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. Is it like the last time we've seen somebody just be able to, one-on-one, doesn't matter who you got over there, his ankles are getting snapped on this football field today. You know what I mean? We haven't seen that in a long time. So absolutely love that. And obviously, like I said, I know the 21 Cup and all that stuff and Puka Nacua, we've had good players, really good players. But like a straight up, clear-cut Hall of Fame wide receiver who's just snapping kneecaps, it's been a while since we've seen this, man. So I've been loving having Devontae Adams on this offense. So much fun. And, it's like one of those things, too. It's like even Packers fans are like, hell yeah, Devontae. Like, still. I think that he's just one of those guys where there's not a lot of hatred on Devontae, which is really cool to see. But, yeah, there's a lot of Packers fans that are, like, still rooting for Devontae, even though he's with us now, which I absolutely love to see. That just says a lot about him, I think. So that's good stuff. Let's see. I think we are going to destroy the Colts this Sunday. Hell yeah. And Stafford is going to go off. Who do you think is going to have a big game against the Colts? I think you're right in line there with Matthew Stafford, but I also think that the Colts' run defense can be a little bit suspect. I think that we can pop off in that regard. So I'm going K-Dub, man. I'm gonna say K-Dub goes for like 146 and 2 touchdowns. I feel it, man. I'm feeling good about it, man. K-Dub's absolutely, obviously, such a talented player, man. And I don't think we've ever seen him at his full abilities. I think that he's such a good player that we know in flashes that he's like an absolute destroyer. But so far, man, I don't think that we've seen him just absolutely like have one of those days where like that was a Kyron game, dude. So I feel like we'll see one of those soon, and maybe it's this weekend. Heading over to the YouTube channel, Payo, where you at, dude? I put you on the intro this week, and you didn't even give quesos, bro. Embarrassing. All right. Here from Ram's house, and then we got one from Paul here. I'm going to save Paul's till the last, because I feel like I got a little bit of a bone to pick with Paul's question, actually. But Ram's house, was I the only one who loved Josh Carty's knuckleball kicks? Absolutely not. Edwin did as well. Dude was pinning the Eagles inside their own 10 on 3 separate occasions. Absolutely right, dude. That kind of ability is something that you cannot, you can't take for granted. Like, the Rams' average starting field position on defense is like the 15. Is the next team behind him is like 20.7 or 21 or something like that. We're in the lead by a margin for average starting field position, which with this defense and their ability to just absolutely take some heads off, you got to love that. You got to love putting these guys back in their own 15. It feels like that's going to be quick tuds for the Rams defense. Like, we're going to see one of those where the team's pinned back, quick pick 6 by Emmanuel Forbes Jr., quick fumble recovery for a touchdown by Jared Verse. Like, it feels like that's something that we're going to see at some point this year. And that whole game plan and attack changes when you're at the 15 or the 35. So it's a whole different ballgame at that point, man. So you can definitely attack in different ways. And there's plans for it, obviously. Shula knows where he wants to hit some attacks and stuff, but absolutely love those kicks, man. It's so cool to see a dude look like an idiot 8 times in a row trying to catch a football and just can't do it. And it's like, this is your job, to return kicks. You can't even catch them, man. Love that. Big fan of that. Next one here from Ram's house. I understand completely that we played a great wide receiver core in Philly. However, I've gotten a lot of comments regarding the Rams cornerback room and how it needs upgrading. If their play continues the way it did in Philly, do you see us making a move at the corner, maybe at the deadline? I don't think that this is impossible. The Rams secondary is certainly a conversation and certainly a position the Rams can get better at. If this is something that the Rams want to attack as far as like this season, and they want to make a push, and they think that they can go, win it all in Santa Clara this year, then I think that corner is something that the Rams should address. I'll be completely honest. I mean, it's one of those where we look back at the 21 season, the guys that were not here at season's begin, you know what I mean? Like Von Miller, Eric Weddle, OBJ, stuff like that, who were clearly big parts of the Rams winning that ring. So I think that the roster that we have now is going to continue evolving. Our roster's never done. It's an ever-evolving organism. And I think that we're going to see that over the course of this year, and I think that the Rams should address corner. Will they? I have no idea, but I think that they should. And it kind of feels like there are certain teams right now that are sellers. And if I'm Les Snead, I'm on the phone for another Snead, a guy that we played against the Tennessee Titans just last week. So I think that going for L'Jarius Snead would be a great move for this defense, but I think there's other guys as well that could fit in. And I mean, that's just where, what are you willing to give up, and how much of a weakness do you think this is, and how much do you really think that you can go for it all this year with that weakness being on your roster? There's a lot of questions, obviously, to answer, and only Sean, Les, and the coaches and the rest of the scouting department can really dive into that question realistically. But I think that, from my perspective, if the Rams are going to win a Super Bowl, like if we're talking here in February and the Rams are, hoisting up another Lombardi and we're talking about how sick that Super Bowl run was, I don't think that these are the corners that are fully on our roster. I think that there is an addition or two to our roster. Clearly, there's some things going on with the Darius Williams world right now, as he didn't even play week 1, stuff like that. Then he kind of got forced into playing as Akello's down on IR. So Emmanuel Forbes does get better every single week. And maybe we kind of look back on this as like a Super Bowl win kind of situation, and we look back and say like, well, Forbes is a new player than he was then. You know what I mean? Because I do think he is getting progressively better. Every single week, it seems a little bit more in tune, a little bit more in line with stuff. So hopefully that continues. But I do think it's an absolute possibility and a potential need for the Rams. Next one here from Rams House. What are your thoughts on Braden Fisk this year? He's been pretty quiet, but his run defense seems improved based on the off the eye test. Your thoughts? Yeah, I would say that so far there's not been a whole bunch of like explosive Fisk plays. And he's also been a little bit banged up, so I think he's pretty limited right now. And I think that a lot of it is just game plan. With him being a little bit of a smaller defensive end, I think that when the Rams are in pass rush situations, we're seeing a lot more, Stewart and Verse and Young being out on the field instead of last year where we'd see Verse and Byron on the outsides and then Fisk in the middle there. So I think we're just kind of seeing a little bit more different lineups this year. And then when it comes to run stopping downs, well, that's why we brought Puna Ford in. You know what I mean? That's why we have Kobe Turner. So then it kind of changes in that regard. So I do think that overall, I would have to look at his snap percentages and stuff. I do think overall he is getting less snaps, but again, he has been a little bit beat up. But I also think that with the way the Rams are running this rotation on the defensive side, I think it's just a matter of time before he does something, like has a game where he's got like 3 sacks or something like that, and we're just like, oh yeah, there's Fisk. He's absolutely killing it still. So yeah, numbers down. It's definitely been quiet from the Fisk camp, but overall, I think that he's a good player. So I mean, it's just a matter of time until that starts popping up onto football fields, Next one here from Rams House. How good will this offense be when Stafford and Devontae are fully synced up? Dude, there's no talent, man. Stafford and Devontae, clearly there is a little bit of progress that is going to still need to happen. They are definitely getting there, though. Some of those throws that have gone to Devontae where you're like, hell yeah, man, hell yeah. And then some you're like, ooh, not quite. So we're getting there. And I think that I probably keep saying this too much, but by season's end, I think that we're going to be looking back at this Stafford and Devontae combo as like, yo, this is crazy good, so good. So it just feels like that's what's going to happen, or like a playoff situation where the playoff conversation is going to be like, well, who's going to stop Devontae? Because if you do, there's Puka Nacua, like, yeah, you can block the right hook all you want, but that left is coming. You know what I mean? Take your pick, man. You can't block everything. So yeah, it's going to be really good though. Next one from Rams House. Whose house? Who is one player nobody is talking about that needs more love? For me, it's Jordan Whittington or Puna Ford. I think Whittington is absolutely the best pick for this kind of conversation. Whittington, you take that 4th down run against the Titans from Puka Nacua, that 46-yard touchdown run, 45-yard touchdown run, and without Witt there, I think Puka gets caught. I think that he kind of shimmied in there on a block. And then you have the Kyron Williams touchdown last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. three dudes getting taken away from Jordan Whittington and Kyron out there to catch the ball and take a weird step where it was like, dude, just get in the end zone. Whatever. But yeah, Whittington, I think, is so far playing a role in the Rams offense that I think is very clever, very unique, not very statistically oriented. Sounds right. But I think his impact is definitely being felt on the Rams offense. So yeah, I absolutely agree with Whittington. Puna though, getting in there on a sack, absolutely love to see that. Big fan of that. And yeah, the run defense from Puna it's becoming more abundant to me as well. As you see the crash of the offensive line just get it, when it's muddy up front, when the running back gets the ball and it's just chaos up front, that means your D tackles are probably just ruining days. So gotta love that. Next one here from Rams House. Whose house? If Kyron Williams was a candy, what candy would he be? That's a good question, man. It's got to be something where, like, not everybody sees the type, but the ones who do. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to go with Take 5. Maybe because it's just one of my favorites. But I think Take 5 because it feels like Take 5 is one of those that doesn't get a lot of love from the masses. But I think that the people that know that Take 5 is awesome, they understand exactly how awesome Take 5 is. You know what I mean? So, like, you take 5, man. You take a K-dub, and you know you're in for quite a treat. Other people may be like, I don't know what's going on here. So, I didn't put on my little Rams light down here. Dang it. The whole show didn't do it. No illuminated LED down here. Just a pile of wires. That's probably another robot slur, isn't it? Anyway, next up, we're going to go to Paul. Paul says, has Verse dropped off this year? I'm glad you asked, Paul, because no. No, he hasn't. The reason I say I've got a bone to pick with this question is just because it's not, I'm not serious, obviously. I understand how people would think or have it in their mind of like, oh, he's not doing as well this year. But if you just, I do this every week. I always rewatch the Rams games every single week. But if you just watch Jared Verse on every play, you wouldn't have asked this question. I'll be honest, which is fine though, man. He's getting doubled at least almost what it feels like every time, tripled sometimes, and then just you can tell before plays that plays are just going away from him. People will come in motion to help block. A run will, instead of, like, if Verse comes over to the other side, it's like, okay, never mind. We'll go this way. You're okay. Like, you know? So I think it's just teams planning better against Verse this year than last year. I think that's really all it is. Verse is certainly not dropped off by any means, but the attention that other teams are giving to Jared Verse has increased, what I would say, dramatically. Jared Verse certainly knows this. He's experiencing it, so he certainly knows it. And I think that overall we can kind of, like he has said it too, that like, it's like, well, this is what happens. You destroy people and then they start giving you attention. And now you have to figure out a way through that. And I'm sure Aaron Donald's got some really cool advice for Jared Verse on, you know, handling that and breaking through those and maybe splitting double teams and stuff like that. Something that Aaron was able to do quite a bit. And maybe Jared gets a little amped up here, maybe wants to work out with Aaron Donald a few more times. I don't want to throw Jared under no buses or anything, but maybe that's what he needs to do. Who am I? I would never work out with Aaron Donald. I couldn't do it. I would die, dude. So fast. That's all. I mean, look at me. Wait, you think I could go in there? No one thinks that I can go in there. No one's like, what? Nah, you'd be all right. There's no one saying that right now. What can you do? Hey, thank you for your quesos, man. I absolutely appreciate those. Feel free to drop them every week. We post on the Ram Showcase YouTube channel under that post section. We also post on the Ram Showcase Facebook page. If there's another place you want them because you want to get yours in, let me know. Hit me up. At Ram Showcase everywhere, at Sheriff Joe Bags everywhere, ramshowcase.com. Let me know your quesos. I want to answer your quesos. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Again, we'll be live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 a.m. LA time on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel, Ram Showcase Facebook page as well. So make sure you follow along there. Get those notifications going. Make sure you also subscribe to the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel, as that's where a lot of action definitely goes down. Tuna's absolutely incredible. Does a really great job over there. So definitely be checking that out for sure. We'll be back on a pregame live stream this week, as when I'm driving out to the bar, we'll be hanging out. So you can see my car, I guess, if you're into that. And hang out with me as we talk some Rams football, man. Going against the Colts. We've had some crazy games against the Colts, dude. So we got Sean McVay's first ever game against the Colts. We got that Tavon Austin game. We've got, there was another one I was just thinking of. We got Puka's game winner, which is absolutely crazy. That touchdown in his rookie season, his first career touchdown game winner. Rams were in all bone for that one. Man, there was another one that popped into my head as I was talking earlier, and I wanted to talk about it, but now I can't remember. Just know they've had a lot of really fun matchups with the Colts, though. It's been a good time, man. Every time it seems like the Rams and Colts play, there's some good high-flying action, and sometimes, not usually, sometimes some absolute blowouts. So maybe we'll get one of those this week. Maybe, man, maybe. That's going to do it for me, though. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.